Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. This episode is my Free Cut File Friday series for the month of March, and this time I have designed some photo frames to fit 4x6 photos. A little conversation in my scrapbooking group had come up about kind of the frustration of some of the pre-made chipboard photo frames that don't quite fit. So these ones are designed for 4x6 photos, and while they can be resized to other sizes, you can end up with distortion issues and such. So possibly in the future I will design some frames for other sizes of photos, but this is what we have for this month. Now if you don't know how to upload and work with SVG cut files in your software, I do have tutorials in the links below, both for the Cricut software and for the Silhouette software. So I've already got these loaded into my software, and as you will notice, they're all in one big group. So first we need to ungroup them, and then we can work with each individual frame file. When I am designing cut files, I try to design multiple pieces that go with the cut files so that you have the most flexibility out of the design. And if I ungroup this file again, you will see that I have multiple layers here. So there's a separate heart frame piece, there is this filler piece, and then there is the individual frame where you can see the heart is overlaid with the frame. Now this filler piece could be placed on top and used like that. You can add the further frame on top. You could even cut this out of, say, a coordinating color of cardstock or pattern paper and add it that way. You could even, I'm going to use this in my software to mimic doing it in person. You could even fill in behind and still retain the look of the separate heart on the frame. So you have multiple options on how you would like to assemble these frames. Now you will notice that I have 2 heart frames and only 1 flower frame, and that's because in your software you can flip your images. So I'm going to flip this horizontally. So now I have my flower in the opposite corner. And of course you can do this physically too. When you're flipping a symmetrical shape like a flower, it doesn't matter which way you flip it, it's still going to look like a flower. However, if I'm working with this heart shape, if I flip it vertically, now my heart's upside down. So I designed 2 separate heart ones so that you could create your heart either in the bottom left, bottom right, top left, or top right corner, depending on how you flip and orient these. So if I undo that flip, you can see if I select this shape, I can flip it horizontally, and that will give me a left or right heart on the top. And then likewise with this bottom shape, I could flip it horizontally to get the left or right bottom heart. So that gives you the most flexibility for lining these frames up with however your photo is composed. So I'm going to go ahead and head to my machine and cut these out, and I'll show you what they look like in person and a couple of options that you can use these frames for. Alright, I've taken my Cricut and I've cut out all of the pieces for just one of the heart cut files. I didn't cut everything out. And this is just a simple piece of cardstock, and as you can see it's pretty thin, and you could just overlay it on a photo as is. But one of the things I like to do with die cuts and even sometimes punches is that I will cut it multiple times out of extra cardstock. So you can see I had a full sheet of black cardstock, but most of the time I will just sort through my bin and find scraps of cardstock and piece it together and cut out multiples of this. So I have these 3 cut out of black cardstock, and I use black because I did cut out that accent heart in black, and notice that that accent heart has an inside piece, so I'm going to use that on my project as well. So once I have all these cut out, I use a liquid glue for this part with a fine tip on it, and that helps me get just in the center of gluing this. And I like the liquid glue because it gives me some time to kind of shift things around so that they line up nicely, and I will lay one layer on top of the other layer and kind of squeeze it with my fingers so that those edges all come flush together. And then I will just add on my final top decorative layer. Now, depending on which color cardstock you cut this out of, you'll get a different shadow around the edge. And I chose black because I am using this accent black piece. But you could use white, you could use craft if you wanted more of a chipboard actual shape or design or feel to it. then you've basically got a homemade chipboard piece, and that frame is nice and sturdy at that point. So I didn't film the whole layout process that I did here, but this is the layout that I came up with this, and it's some photos of myself at an online teaching event, and you can see the thickness of that piece there, and all of the details. And there's the heart that I saved from that center, and I did repeat that heart in punches on other places on the layout. So that finishes up this video for today. I hope you enjoy this cut file set. The links are in the show notes to get to my blog in order to download these files. It's one file with all three pieces in there, I should say. And if you have any comments about these cut files, if something isn't working or you have questions on how to use them, do leave me a comment because I will get back to you. And I hope you join me next week because I will have 3 brand new videos for you then. I'll see you next time.